Okay, Broncos country. So the NFL Combine is underway. We heard Sean Payton and George Payton talk yesterday, and one of the good signs we've heard them both talk about the linebacker position. Now George Payton talked about how he wants Alex Singleton and Justin Sternad both back. I'm not making too much out of that. I do think that we're moving on and we're moving in a different direction, and a lot of this has to do with the fact that the Broncos have already had an insane amount of visits with off-ball linebackers so far at the NFL Combine. And I'm going to give you my take because you can probably tell by the thumbnail. I think the Broncos might be trying to hide some of their interest in some of these guys, but y'all be sure smash that like, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We're having some issues with the live chat YouTube has, so I'll try and get to them as much as I can. But y'all comment and try and make sure that everything's working correctly here. But let's go ahead and get into the good news, guys. And this is courtesy of Broncos 46 Carson, friend of the show, per Chris Thomason. The linebackers the Broncos have met with that he has seen: BYU Jack Kelly. He will be a day 3 or undrafted guy. Oklahoma's Owen Heinicke. I have not watched him whatsoever. We got Texas Tech's Jacob Rodriquez, who I think a lot of us are a fan of. Missouri's Josiah Trotter. I have not watched anything on him yet. Cincinnati, Jake Golday, very good linebacker. Georgia's CJ Allen, who, yes, is pretty much seen as like the third best inside linebacker in this class after the Ohio State kids. Ohio State, speaking of, Sonny Styles, and he'll probably be a top 15 pick, right? LSU's Harold Perkins, Clemson's Wade Woodaz, and then Texas A&M's Scooby Williams, guys. And I would ideally love the Broncos to sign an inside linebacker, all right, and then draft a couple to develop. We can see what guys like Corinne Reed or Jordan Turner, these guys turn into. But at the end of the day, if we can get a couple draftable talents at linebacker into this room, when you're maybe replacing somebody like Alex Singleton with somebody like Leo Chenal or something like that, or N'Kobe Dean, Dre Greenlaw should be back, but he's essentially on a 1-year deal. You can justify not only a top pick going to linebacker, like a top 100 pick, but multiple picks in the draft going to linebacker because of that. And obviously, CJ Allen has been talked about a lot. He's a very, very good linebacker, but a guy that I think should be right there with him in one of the top linebacker options for the Broncos at 30 is Anthony Hill Jr. From the University of Texas. Sean Payton likes Texas players. I like Texas players. And CJ Allen, yes, he's a few months younger than Anthony Hill Jr., but by no means is Anthony Hill Jr. an old player. We've talked about, for instance, if we draft Emmanuel Pregnon at 30, he's a plug and play guard. He's also 25 years old. You should be plug and play at 25. Anthony Hill Jr., he very well could be plug and play. And also, he's only 21 years old right now. And he is fantastic. Go watch his highlights. I have linked some in the description of the video. You guys can go check him out. But I really love Anthony Hill Jr. I think that he's a fantastic athlete. He's a really good tackler. You can see his missed tackle rate is under 5% in this past year. He had, I want to say, a couple interceptions. Oh, yeah, you can see right here. But man, a really good blitzer, I would say, and somebody who can be reliable in coverage, who can be really good against the run. You see this past year over 60 total tackles. I want to say 63, only 3 missed tackles on the season. And you can see he kind of lines up. He had 100 snaps in the slot this year. He had 123 snaps in the slot in 2024, mainly playing in the box, as an inside linebacker, but a guy that I think is all around. He can be the green dot guy. He can be a team captain, similar to CJ Allen. He's a guy that can come in here and run this defense for many years to come, and would profile to be a 2 contract type of guy. if everything works out how you think it would be, using a high pick on him. And again, like the Broncos didn't meet with Anthony Hill Jr. I find that interesting. We'll see if they end up making him like a top 30 visit or something like that. But I know that we've drafted players in the past that we have not, quote unquote, met with at the combine. And the Broncos right here could be trying to mask some of their interest in Texas players. But we know Sean Payton loves Texas players, and that's for good reason. A lot of Texas players play in the NFL. Same with Georgia. So if CJ Allen or Anthony Hill Jr. is the pick at pick 30, man, I like, cool. I can get behind it. Of course, a lot of this is dictated by what we're able to do and accomplish in free agency and what holes, if there are any, going into the NFL draft that we have. But we're going to have some fun, guys. I'm going to put together, I put together a little mock draft. You guys know I love mock drafts. What would this look like, okay? If we were to draft Anthony Hill Jr. at pick 30. And as long as we're able to sign somebody like a Tyler Algier in free agency at minimum, okay? I think that would allow us to go pretty trench heavy with a lot of our top picks. I mean, this isn't a sexy mock draft right here, but this is a mock draft that like wins us a Super Bowl. It is Anthony Hill Jr., Dominique Orange at 62. All right. That would be fantastic. Keelan Rutledge at guard. All these guys. I mean, guys, go watch Dominique Orange. This guy, he probably won't be available at at our second round pick, but one can hope. Keelan Rutledge, absolute beast of a guard. I think all three of these guys would be impactful players on our team this year. Katron Allen, bringing him to the fold at running back. You guys know I'm Eli Raritan gang. All right. Pick 130 on just the highest upside tight end, man, that you can find. This guy's a beast. He's Rob Gronkowski, just from Notre Dame instead of Arizona State. Now, Andy, he's in on Demetrius Crownover as a developmental tackle. If we can get him from Texas A&M, that would be great. Eli Heidenreich, I don't care if he's a little undersized for fullback, man. We bring him in. We round out our running back room with RJ Harvey, a free agent signing, Katron Allen, and Eli Heidenreich. Yes, please. Jacoby Thomas, a safety. And then Lander Barton, another linebacker that we can bring in that can add special teams value. And because we've always struggled with tight ends, he also plays tight end, guys. So love Lander Barton. But this is something that could happen. Ideally, I would really like the Broncos to spend a lot of their picks on the trenches this year. We can't have our offensive line and defensive line and linebacker core age out. We just can't have that. We have really talented secondary players. We have, I think some might say it's a confusing wide receiver group. We're missing that alpha, so to speak, but it's one that still has, I think, a lot of promise. And it might just be hard to get an alpha weapon at the wide receiver position this year. So maybe that comes more in free agency where you sign another wide receiver if we decide to use any of that money. But guys, it's hard in free agency to find impact defensive linemen, offensive linemen, and frankly, tight ends. I think if we sign like Dallas Goedert, stuff like that, I mean, you're signing 32-year-old tight ends right now. So this would be a great draft to kind of reinvest in a lot of those positions that we have neglected over the years. It has been bad process that we have not drafted a tackle in forever since Garrett Bowles. We have been so lucky. So Demetrius Crownover, you are that next developmental tackle. Keelan Rutledge, you could come in and compete to play that starting left guard position ahead of Ben Powers, or now that we move on from him right away. But overall, good to see that the Broncos understand their weaknesses. They understand where they need to improve. If Sean Payton is firing his best friends because the results weren't good enough, If he is saying, my play calling wasn't good enough because we were in way too many tight games this year, because we led the league in punts, because we were awful on third down, I'm willing to give up a little bit of that for the betterment of the team because he also believes in Davis Webb. It's hard for me to see Sean Payton making those moves and then saying, "Yeah, we're gonna give Alex Singleton a 3-year contract for 30 million, man. We're not bringing him back." I gotta put that into the universe. And I'm sorry, Alex Singleton, Tim Tebow fans, man. That guy is not anything special from a talent perspective at inside linebacker. He is not. Go and get a guy like Anthony Hill Jr., CJ Allen, Jack Golday that can call the defense for the next 8 years, 10 years, if it all works out well. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And sorry about the live comments, man. It just doesn't seem like any of them are like going through today. YouTube seems to be having an issue with this. But on the replay, please be sure to let me know what you think of this information. How would you feel if the Broncos used a top pick on linebacker? I'd be cool with it. Paul, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll be back again shortly. Go Broncos.